Can you outline your economic plan for getting rid of our deficit? Nice, simple, straight shot. And let's see, we'll go with number 7. Troy, let's see what you've got to say.
Well, look, it's pretty straightforward. We don't have Telstra anymore to sell off. So we can't do it like last time with selling off assets. We can't do it by raising taxes because we're going to end up with an economy the size of the pea. What you have to do is grow the overall nation's economy to try and get more taxation in. By stopping quarterly estimate company taxation and making it annual on actual figures, we're going to have $70 billion in the economy. If that gets spent just once, that's $7 billion in GST straight to the federal government. In Australia, most things have a multiplier of between $5 and $10 across a few months. For a whole year, even more. So we're talking about raising extraordinary funds in that one measure alone. Plus, not having refugees being jailed off shores saves $6.5 billion every year. This is also an example in Melbourne. A link road is being built. It is set to cost $17.5 billion. Clive's engineers can build it for $4 billion. That saves $13 billion in one project in one city. Having Clive Palmer, a man who has experience in building things, will save us extraordinary amounts of money across the board.
Anyone else? Any other auctioneers there? Could do it in 30 seconds? Please pass it on. I'm sure everyone wants a crack at this one.
Just to say, at the CEC, we are against free trade, deregulation, privatisation, and we are for a national sovereign country. We need to put people to work.
We need structural change to the tax system, and I've talked about it numerous times. The Hearing Tax Review has 190 recommendations. Most of those are aimed at small business. We've talked about small business, and we need to include that in the structural change to our economy. We do also need to transition from where we've been. We have been based in the mining sector, and that needs to move to small business. And we certainly need to get back to being a competitive exporter of product. We have a dollar now that actually can happen, and I don't believe we've actually taken advantage of our agricultural sector to the level it should be. We haven't invested in agricultural R&D enough, and we also haven't invested, and go back to that question about youth, we are not looking at innovative and smart technologies and investing in countries, in companies in our country that produce those. We always export good ideas, not product. So there's a whole range of issues there that we could address. Thanks.
Yeah, look, we're committed to a suite of things. It's called a plan. We're going to cut out the waste and start balancing the books. Just in this town, the super clinic that was alluded to is an empty building site with a half nursing home knocked down. You're all familiar with that sort of waste. Pink bats, school halls, all that sort of stuff. People want trust and confidence in their government. We're going to return that because we've got an experienced team that are used to governing. We're going to get rid of the carbon tax because it puts up the cost of living and makes it hard for businesses because it's an electricity tax. We're going to get rid of the mining tax because it's taken the heat out of our most productive industry in the country that's earned billions and billions of dollars for us. We're going to try and cut the red tape and let businesses get on with doing their business. We're going to try and make government efficient by defining who's responsible for what at which level of government. And we're going to stimulate employment by letting business get on with doing what they do best rather than government controlling too much of the pie. We want to grow the pie so that there's more income, get employment going again, and businesses and tax will flow to get rid of the debt.
I'll stick to my 30 seconds. We've just been through a global financial crisis. Our economy is the third best in the world. Only Estonia and Luxembourg are better, so we're not that much in dire straits that the two major parties make out. It can be easily fixed by reverting back to the pre-Howard tax rates. Also, there's an effective mining tax. I don't know, the current mining tax is ineffective, and also Greens propose a millionaire's tax. So We're flushed with money. It's just a matter of putting it in the right places. Thank you.
You get to win a prize. If you can tell me who said this, when the Prime Minister and the Treasurer and others tell you that the Australian economy is doing better than most, they are right. We are still fortunate that we have an unemployment rate with 5 in front of it. I wouldn't have thought that was going to be possible a few years ago, and I don't think many people would. Our unemployment has remained pleasingly quite low, and our debt to GDP ratio, the amount of money we owe to the strength of our economy, is still a lot better than most other countries. Australia's economy was better than the economies of Japan, the United States and most European countries. Who said that?
Albert Fraser. John Howard.
John Howard. There you go, Fred. Two ALP raffle tickets over to Shane Stelzer over there. John Howard said that in May this year. So John Howard has confidence in the Australian economy. Now, in terms of answering the question, in terms of the deficit, was specifically the question, we currently have a growth rate, GDP growth rate at the moment of 2.25%. Incidentally, the economy's been growing for the last 22 years. We have a growth rate of 2.25%. We have a deficit of about $30 billion. The way to push us back into recession is to pull $30 billion out of the current economy. $30 billion is about 2% of the economy. Let me think, 2.25%, let's pull out $30 billion, that puts us at about 0.25%, that puts us very close to falling into recession. What we need to be doing at this particular stage is we need to be continuing to invest in our infrastructure, invest in education, invest in hospitals. When the economic growth picks up around 2.75%, 3%, that's when we need to be bringing the budget back into surplus, and that's the plan that we're moving forward with.
Thanks, Peter.
I've got your answer. They need some accountants that are treasurers in the federal parliament. There are no accountants. Here he is. We'll clean it up. It's a matter of balancing the books. You can do it in different ways. What concerns me more than anything else in the commitments for this coming financial year is the expenditure that has been called the forward estimates that is set down to be spent. I'm talking about the NIDA scheme, that's a disability scheme. I'm talking about the better education scheme. Between them, $10 billion. I read the budget the other day, the 2013-2014 budget. The social services part of that budget was the greatest factor in that budget. It was $187 billion out of $250. That's a hell of a lot of money that is being paid out from government and not being returned through taxes and things like that. So we've got to ask ourselves, why is it there's such a handout mentality in Australia? Everybody's got the handout saying, give me, give me, give me, give me. There are people that desperately require it and should be giving that aid. But people that are wealthy should not be given access to any of those things that we in the lower income area exist with. So unless we can change that, we're going to head down that road. Nobody can balance a budget if you spend more than you get in. That's the operative word. We've got to live within our means. And I mean the whole country.
Thanks.
Not just the sector of the country. So, vote your accountant and we'll sort it out.
Thank you.
Strong small business, they employ, makes the country better. But I have to ask you this question. Who believes the Labor Party has looked after our economy in the last 4 years? Couple. Who believes they haven't? Quite a few too. Well, coming out, Joe Hockey today has come out with a couple of interesting things. Of course, David, you're very much for jobs, aren't you? Very much for jobs and employing jobs. Well, I found this might be a good one, may I add. Joe Hockey's come out today axing 12,000 public service jobs. Today, Canberra property prices have poised to plunge due to this coalition announcement. Some people may say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I've got a nod of a couple of heads there. Savings from the paid parental leave business levy. Of course, they reckon they're going to save $1.1 billion. What I'm trying to say very quickly in this 30 seconds, we've seen the results of what the Labor Party have done. The curtain's not quite open yet what the coalition's going to do yet. It's still yet to open. How much are they going to cut? How much is it going to hurt you? Just have a think about that tonight before you go to September the 7th, okay?
Thanks, Craig. I was actually interested in what you were going to do, not what they were going to do. Anyway, number one. Cheers. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Other countries have had economic collapse. I mean, Greece is close to it. The USSR in the early 90s collapsed because of its inability to fund itself and fragmented into separate states. Social policies had to be, socialism didn't work there, doesn't work here. Willingness to work, at least the Katter Party's got that little mantra down pat, and that's the fundamental issue. Social welfare budgets that comprise more than half of GDP, just not returning on the money thrown at it. It's merely fostering a dependency on government handouts. It's the dead weight on the economy. And that's got to change. Motivation, and that's why the founders of this country laid down the motivation for citizenship. That was that they would humbly rely on the blessing of Almighty God. And in there, if a man doesn't work, neither should he eat. Very simple mantra, but it works. And we need to restore these sort of values, which it's good to hear the Katter Party has actually got that down pat.
Okay.